Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles, and I welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, I got a pretty interesting one for you. Is calling James Harden a better perimeter player than Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant just insane? So that's the topic I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified. I was recently watching a segment on Undisputed, and they were talking about Giannis Antetokounmpo celebrating his championship. Congratulations to Giannis again. And there was a part where they were asking a question rather, did Giannis Antetokounmpo prove James Harden wrong? Because you remember, there's this back and forth spat that James Harden, or beef, let's say, that James Harden has with Giannis Antetokounmpo. You even saw that when they were facing each other in the Eastern Conference semifinals, when Giannis was up there taking his normal 10 seconds to shoot a free throw, and James Harden was like, come on, are you kidding me? Throwing his hands up in the air like, yo, bro, come on, get it together. What the heck? Y'all remember that. And Shannon Sharpe said his take, and, he said his piece about it. Then Skip Bayless essentially said, listen, man, like, I'm tired of Giannis. Like, Giannis, come on, man. Like, you've had your day in the sun. Like, enough is enough. And I'm just like, well, I thought to myself, first of all, the parade is today. Like, literally the celebration just started. He's had about 2 or 3 days to celebrate. So some people in the comments are like, come on, Skip, like, give the guy his just due. Skip Bayless, you a hater. And Skip Bayless can be a hater. I'll be the first one to say that he can be a hater. And I think sometimes a little bit too hypercritical of LeBron James. Anyway, that's not the point I'm trying to get to right here. In his soliloquy, to use his word that the Skip Bayless likes to use, he then said, come on, like, Giannis, cut it out, like this and this and this, because the question was about skill, right? And they were going back and forth talking about skill. Do the things that Giannis Antetokounmpo do, are they skillful? Right? And Shannon Sharpe was like, obviously it's skillful, right? And he's like, there are different degrees of skill. Some players are more skilled than others, and others, are less skilled. So actually, before we go too far, I want you guys to take a listen to the soundbite of them going back and forth, talking about this part, and then also the part I'm going to address. So take a listen to that.
The truth is, Giannis started this beef. He started it live on TNT as he picked the All-Star team. 2020, February 6th, the night of February 6th, 2020, live with Charles and Shaq and Kenny. He started it because he just plunged out there and everybody gives him a break. Well, he's Greek and he doesn't really get what's going on here, and everybody loves him. He knew exactly what he was saying.
Because what do you say, Skip? He could have went to a super team. He could have went to, I don't want to put anybody on the spot.
Yeah.
So you know exactly what not to say.
He said, when he got to the decision to be made over his next pick, I want somebody who's going to pass the ball. And that's when Charles jumped in and said, oh, you don't want the dribbler, right? Ha, ha, ha. No, I'm trying to decide between Kemba and Trey. Kemba and Trey? He took Kemba Walker. He said, I'm going to go with the crossover killer, step back master, Kemba Walker, over James Harden, who is simply the most gifted perimeter player I've ever seen in all my time observing the NBA.
Who was averaging like 35, 36 at the time. Okay.
As they went on, Skip Bayless said something that made me that really inspired this video, where he said James Harden was the most gifted, or the best perimeter player, most skilled perimeter player he has ever seen. Pump the brakes, bro. What? We got to pump the brakes. Hold up. What? First of all, I want to address this now. The two most skilled perimeter players, as far as guards, ever, are Michael freaking Jordan and Kobe Bryant. Period. End of story. But I want to get into the numbers for a second, and let's talk about this. So here's a comparison of these three players, and I want to get into their stats for a second, and I want to give you guys their percentages over their careers. And I really want to put these guys, these players' careers into context, okay? So let's talk about Kobe Bryant, right? If you look at Kobe Bryant, I'm just going to give you some of his best years, okay? Let's look at what year we're going to look at. Let's look at this season. Let's go back to the year 2000 and 2001. That year, Kobe Bryant averaged 28.5 points per game. That season, he shot 46% from the field, 30% from the three, 85% from the free throw line. And, those were his percentages. The following season, he averaged 25 points per game. He shot 47% from the field, 25% from the three, 82%, 83% from the free throw line. The following year, he scored 24 points per game, 44% from the field, 33% from the three. Then the year he scored 35 points per game, he shot 45% from the field, 35% from the three, and 85% from the free throw line. Those are some of Kobe's numbers. If you look at Michael Jordan in some of his years, and Jordan has so many, let's look at the year he averaged 37 points per game, right? The scoring milestone that James Harden was able to topple. That year, Jordan was shooting 48%, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Jordan was shooting 48% from the field. He was shooting 80% from the three, and he was shooting 85.7% from the field. The other years, let's look at another year, 1989, 1990, he scored 33.6 points per game. He shot 52.6% from the field and 37.6% from the three and 85% from the free throw line. I'm just picking random numbers. Now, some people will look at James Harden and say James Harden is the more gifted scorer, and he's not. James Harden has about 3 moves. He has a step back three, which at different times I think is a travel. Then he can break you down, usually break you down one-on-one off the dribble and go to the paint and either lay it up or step back into a mid-range shot, or he drives to the basket. Those are his 3 moves. James Harden has 3 or 4 go-to moves. Jordan had every single move in the book. He was Jordan was probably the most creative scorer ever. Kobe Bryant was out there. I've seen Kobe Bryant pull off shots. I mean, throwing the ball off the backboard, his fadeaways. I've seen Kobe Bryant mid-dribble lose the ball, pull up his fade. Like, these guys are the most gifted perimeter players ever when it comes to like the range of moves that they have in their bag. Like, it's not even close. Go look at James Harden highlights. Go look at Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant highlights and see who's able to score in a plethora of ways, right? First of all, when Kobe was in the game, he was one of the best post players. Kobe could exclusively play out of the post. How do I know this? Because Phil Jackson ran a triangle offense through the post. For them to run a triangle and post a guard, it means that guard has to have a back to the basket game. Jordan, they ran the triangle through Jordan in the post. They would have post up Jordan. He was a threat. In the post, same thing with Jordan. I don't think James Harden is a threat from the perimeter. In the paint for you to put him down at the elbows and then run an offense through him and make him a back to the basket player and let your whole offense run through him as if you're running it through a center, right? So when it comes to the ways in which these two guys can score compared to James Harden, I don't even think it's close. Now, let's look at James Harden's numbers because I think there's something quite deceptive about James Harden's scoring that a lot of people don't really key in on, and that's what I want to focus on here today. And I'm not dissing James Harden. It's not an attack on James Harden. But what I want to do is put things into context. That's my only aim here. Now, if we look at James Harden, one of his seasons, look at the season he scored 36 points per game, right? That's the season that he was on par with Jordan, when Jordan scored 37 points per game and Kobe Bryant scored 35.5 points per game. So that season, which was in 2018, 2019, James Harden scored 36.1 points per game, right? He shot 44% from the field, all right? He shot 36.8% from the three-point line and 87.9, let's say 88% from the free throw line. Now, here's a number that I want you guys to pay attention to, which gets lost in all of this. James Harden that season, okay, was attempting 13 three-pointers per game. 13. He was making 4.8. So if you do the math, 4.8 to 5, so you go what? 3, 6, 9, 12. So he was making his offense on a nightly basis was about half of his points came from threes. He was getting about 12 to 15 3-pointer, 12 to 14 points per game from his scoring on average were coming from 3-point shots. Right? Now, let's go look at Kobe's year when he scored 35.5 points per game. Let me pull up that year here. Fine. That year, Kobe Bryant shot a higher field goal percentage. By the way, there were less possessions per game when Kobe was scoring those numbers. So actually, Kobe Bryant had a net overall. His net, let's say the shots that were available, like the net shots that were available, actually less per game. Okay, because there were less possessions back then per game. Now per 100 possessions. Now that year, Kobe Bryant shot 45% from the field, compared to James Harden. For the year, he scored 36 points to 44.2. So Kobe actually shot a higher percentage. Now, the year that James Harden scored 36 points per game, he was attempting 24.5 field goals per game, right? That year, Kobe did it. He was attempting 27. Now, Kobe Bryant that season, if we look at his three-point attempts, he was attempting 5.1. and making 1.8. So the majority of Kobe's offense was coming from twos and free throws, because if you look at his free throw percentage, he was attempting that season. Kobe Bryant was attempting, let me look at it here. He was attempting 10 free throws a game and making 8.7. Right? So Kobe wasn't taking that many shots from the three, or you could, in another way you could say it was this. Kobe Bryant was attempting 6.5. Sorry, he was attempting 6.5 and making 2.3. So his offense he was generating about roughly 6 points per game from his scoring. So Harden was attempting roughly twice the amount of threes and just scoring roughly one more point per game. Attempting twice the threes, and we all know threes are more than two. Obviously threes are more than two. If you look at Jordan, the year he scored 37 points per game, he shot the highest field goal percentage. He was shooting 48% from the field. Jordan that year, if we look at his field goal attempts, they're not showing. Yes, Jordan that year, the year he scored 37, he was attempting 27.8 shots per game. Just about one more shots per game than Kobe Bryant and than James Harden was. But here's the freakiest stat of it all. Jordan was attempting 0.8 threes per game and making 0.1 per game. Jordan basically was not attempting any threes. And he was attempting 12 free throws a game and making 10.2. Right? So, what's the point I'm coming at here? James Harden, when people are talking about skilled, it's not that. Harden perfected a step back three-point shot that he attempted 13 times per game. That shot yields more points, right? And I guess the inverse of what I'm saying is, what if Jordan was attempting 5 threes per game, or on par with the same amount of threes Kobe Bryant was attempting? Jordan would have averaged over 40. Now somebody say, well, Jordan, even if he attempted more threes, he wouldn't make a lot of them. Do you know there's a season when Jordan shot over 42% from the three? Do you know there are 2 seasons where Jordan shot over, 3 seasons where he shot over 30? 2 seasons where he shot over 37% from three? So my point is this: don't ever say James Harden is the most gifted perimeter. No, he's not. He's not. It's just that he took a lot of threes. Now, is it a skill to do that? Absolutely. But don't say he's the most skilled player you've ever seen. I don't know what kind of glasses you've been looking out of, but Jordan and Kobe are the most skilled perimeter players. Anybody that has played basketball will tell you that for free. Those 2 guys are the most skilled. Like, they're the most skilled because they had the majority of their shots came from twos. If Jordan attempted 13 threes per game that year, how many points do you think he would average? 50? 48? Seriously. So I totally disagree with that notion that these guys are on the same level. Sometimes numbers don't tell the full story. You got to go in and look at exactly what took place. And this is the reason why I thought it was important for us to make this video. So what I want to know from you guys is, do you think it's just totally insane to say James Harden is the most skilled perimeter player in NBA history? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro. Wishing you guys an amazing day and catch you guys on the next episode.